Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us tonight in conversation with Anne-Marie Danizio. We're just getting connected, and we will start the talk. Hi, Tara. Thanks so much for joining. Hi, everyone. So great to see everybody. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome.
Here.
Yes,
Yeah.
excellent. That's great. Hi, Andrea. Great that you've joined. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining us tonight. I am so excited. I'm Amy Regan from Seesaw Art here in Manchester, New Hampshire, and tonight we're in conversation with Anne-Marie Danzino, who is on view in our current exhibition entitled Despite Transitions, which is on view until June 1st. We opened on Saturday night. We had a really lovely time. We got to talk about the work and see each other. We sold some paintings, which was also very exciting.
Yep.
And today, so we're all excited about this show. For me, it's always like the whole goal is to introduce artists to one another, to foster community, make these exhibitions available. So it already has been on view for maybe 2 or 3 days. Is already a success. So excellent. Let's cut right to it. So Anne-Marie was born in 1955 in Paris, France, and is an abstract painter and fiber artist who lives in Salem, New Hampshire, and with her husband, and frequently visits her adult children in Waltham, Massachusetts. She started painting at age 17, experimented with other media, and underwent many hiatuses in her art practice. Self-taught for most of her life, she reconnected with her first passion, painting, upon completing her MFA at the Institute of Art and Design at New England College in January of 2020. She is also the recipient of a Master's in Art History and Museum Studies. In France, she worked as an elementary school teacher. After moving to the United States, she taught French to undergraduate college students in the Boston area. I'm going to try to not be intimidated now that it's fully on that you have an art history degree. We've been friends for a while, but every time I reread someone's bio, I'm like, oh no. Oh my goodness. Well, welcome, Anne-Marie. Welcome to everybody who's joined. And can you tell us about the artwork that patrons can expect to see when they visit Seesaw Art this month?
Uh, well, I guess I am, so glad you invited me and so honored that you invited me to join this exhibition and that you immediately saw, the connection with the work by Tara. That's really wonderful and, so excited to be, part of this dialogue. And so the work is kind, at first you may think that, oh, is that the same person who painted this or that? But I think there is an underlying connection. So I wanted to bring diverse work and then trying to talk about what is the kind of the connection between what seems different.
Mm-hmm.
uh, and so there was this kind of internal process, and also when I checked a little bit on the works by Tara, I wanted to also select some of my work that would match her. So there was this, the external and the internal.
Hmm.
And so I have a drawing, and I can show you one in progress. So this, I don't know if you can see it a little
Oh,
bit.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, some, so it's kind, they are freehand drawing. They are basically huge, big doodles, and they are like a pause in my
Hmm.
practice, a time to reflect, to just let my mind wander and basically, rest.
Mm-hmm.
And I am, and this was part of most the part of my pre-MFA,
Mm-hmm.
work. and they were a little bit dismissed as kind of too easy, and I was told to push myself a little bit further or do something, more intense or serious, but I am also grateful, very grateful about the program, because so many things were, thrown at me, and then you
Mm-hmm.
have to push back and try to find your voice. And
Mm-hmm.
this was this kind of challenge and struggle that reconnected me to painting, which I had kind of given up on for a long, long
Wow.
time.
Yeah.
So, and so, and it's so, for example, I have a very big, bright, painting in the show, and then I
Mm.
have this very intricate drawing. But these two represent just a different facet, because I always, uh, you know, so from the drawing, I'm just using a silver ink pen on, paper,
They're so beautiful.
and
Yeah.
I'm just, it's just flowing. I mean, it's just kind of elaborate doodles, or whatever you want to call him, but they have
Mm-hmm.
their importance. And I am so happy that you are the one who accepted, first to have my drawing exhibited, because it leads to dialogue with other artists who were intrigued by them.
Mm-hmm.
And it really pushed me to integrate them into
It's
paintings.
amazing. Yeah.
And my process is really to, stain, the canvas when I am painting,
Mm-hmm.
first, and then look at the shapes that emerge. And then, yeah, so that's really, the transition from drawing to painting. So basically,
Mm.
it's, um, one, it's monochrome with several level of dilution, so they're
Yes.
lighter and darker, and stain, but it's staining, and then it's looking at the stain, and then use the silver ink pen and start elaborate it on what
Mm.
the stains are telling me. Um, and sometimes, as in the case of the bright painting, uh, it seems that the stain are enough, or I'm just, painting or using some blue to mask some
Mm.
of um,
I love that.
the stain. But so they are just at different level, but they are finished in their
Mm-hmm.
own right, and that's how they seems, at first sight very different. But it's all, all the process of, letting the meaning and the shape, emerge, with the that's a process, looking
It's
at
like
that.
a conversation that you're having with the work, whether it's almost like a stream of consciousness drawing, with the silver point on the toned blue, or a reaction to how the tone came out in the acrylic paintings. And I often call these cyanotypes. They're not cyanotypes, it's not photography, but because of the blue color, it reminds me
Yeah,
of that so
yeah,
much.
yeah,
It kind of, and it has that like quality, that handmade quality, because there's so many, because of the different washes at the different opacities.
yes,
They're
yes.
coming up with so many different shapes. Yeah, and I love that story. So we had exhibited, and you told me just this Saturday, we had exhibited some of the silver point drawings this past August here at Seesaw Art in a show that we called Group Effort, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So during that reception, or during the course of the show, Anne Marie was chatting with another artist, and that other artist inspired her to add it to painting, which is now
Yes,
what we
yes,
see. So
yes,
like
yes.
that constant conversation
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like that iteration, I feel like is really important to your work. Like you're always going for the next thing, like many other artists, but there's also that reflection and that trial and error. And the acrylic paintings are so beautiful. We have two. I also put in the chat for everybody Anne Marie's artist page, so you can take a look at all the works that we are discussing tonight and check out all the photos that I took and really dive into the work from there too, from afar. Um, there is a huge diversity of mediums that you have on view. The acrylic paintings, the acrylic painting with silver point drawings on toned board with lovely blue, which is gorgeous. You can see a couple behind me just about. We also have some abstract acrylic paintings and some teeny tiny little canvas paintings. And I'm just going to grab one because they're beautiful microcosms.
Yeah, so these are like really mini.
Yes, like look at how tiny this is. I just love it. Literally made right at the beginning of April, which is so inspiring to me that you were like, okay, I'm gonna make these little baby paintings. They're $15, which is like more than a steal, just saying that for everybody to know. And they're ready to go, right? Right, you don't even have to have a nail to hang them up. They're right on the little easels. And they're beautiful, small studies in a number of different lines with the silver point pen. But yeah, and so these are in the same tradition of sort of the stream of consciousness drawings. And I love that you said that this is a way for you to relax and to take a break. They're so busy that you just like are kind of
Yeah,
going and
well,
going, which I love. Tara says she loves these works, which I totally agree. It's one of those things that it's so approachable too, that everybody could have a piece of fine art by Anne Marie. It's very approachable. Speaking of creating, obviously, what does your studio look like? Is it in your home? Is it outside of your home? How often are you visiting? Like, what's your practice like?
well, right now I do have a studio in Lowell, but I occasionally, when I am in Waltham with my kids, walk in Waltham too. Initially, I had a small studio at home, and it was useful, but I
Mm.
did not really have the space I needed to paint. Um, and so I started doing, the silver ink drawing, and then I used
Hmm.
video throughout the MFA program, and it was, I could have the mentor visit, and so
For sure. Yeah.
and then, I needed to paint more and more, and I needed more space, and I became part of a cooperative, but you did not have your own space. It's called the Turtle Studio, and it was
Mm.
really a great environment. They have a huge space, but it's always shared space, so you need to put your easel in a little corner, get your stuff, put it back. Everything has to be
Mm.
available for the community. And it really helped me starting the process, because that was, a much bigger space of,
Hmm.
experimenting and staining the paintings. But then I needed to have a bigger studio. And for 1 year, I was in this very beautiful, expensive studio on 19 Brent Street, which was sold,
Hmm.
and I don't know if it's still standing. But so I had to find something, and then and eventually ended up in a studio in the Western Avenue studio in Lowell, which is a great artistic community. So and that's where I, can really, paint. The
Yeah.
overwork I can do anywhere. The drawing, the little sculpture, there are. But the painting, really requires the space.
Yeah, and you can leave it up and work as big
Yeah.
as you want.
Yes. Yes.
I love hearing that journey from, somewhere in your home and then the necessity of somewhere else. And then like it sounds like a very natural journey as you sort of like came
Mhm.
into your art practice. And Anne Marie is a great follow on Instagram. She is posting beautiful photos of the larger paintings that are on view. Obviously, small works are best for Seesaw, so that's why we have tiny works. works, but you also have very large works as well. And you're always posting about when you have open studios coming up or when you're going to be around in the studio. And if anybody hasn't been to Western Ave yet, it's a temple of creativity is what I call
Yeah,
it. You walk in and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
so exciting. I'm gonna lie probably and say there's like 500 artist studios in this
Well,
space, right?
I mean, there are
Close.
350,
Okay.
a little bit more than 350 artists, and you have the
Amazing.
work studio, but you also have the living.
Yeah, the live work. It's just such a great
Yes, yes, yes.
example.
And
Especially, we're here in a mill town in New
yeah,
Hampshire, in Manchester, and I'm always like, oh, someone's got to do it here. I wish. I know it takes 30
yeah,
years. I'll still be here to
yeah,
support.
yeah,
But it's a
yeah.
lovely way to walk around and to meet the artists while they're working during open studios. I know a number of artists who are in that studio space, so that's just exciting to me to
Mhm,
see
mhm.
such a big change and all that effort that goes there. And the gallery space is really beautiful on the first floor as well.
Yes, yes.
So how often are you visiting the studio? And like, how was that change from in home to out at Western Ave?
Well, it's just I have trouble focusing at home. I'm still living with my adult children, um, and so I mean, and Salem is just a small apartment for myself and
That
my.
makes sense. Yeah.
So so it is really a place to thrive, and
Hmm.
so I would say that the underlying, common theme of the urge to create is really as a way to manifest my physical presence and as a pushback from external and internalized societal pressure about
I
whom I
love
am
that.
supposed to be. Uh, but there is also, of course, a lot, during my MFA program, I you know heard a lot about what art should be, and I guess it's
Yeah.
my life, finding really at a more mature age. I had that happening when I was 17-year old, but then I had no direction, no support for
Hmm.
it, and so I am much more stronger about about able to say, yeah, that's who I am.
Yes.
and and by going dwelling deeply into who I am, then I am connecting, with over living being,
Hmm.
uh,
Definitely.
and breaking this sense of boundary, although I could, uh, fit into a very specific, greed and
For
uh,
sure. Yeah. And maybe that comes through a lot in the many different mediums that you're so great at is like the idea will come and then the medium will follow. It's
yeah.
not like it's always oil paintings on board every time, same color palette. It's
Mhm.
kind of out of necessity to me. And a lot of your work feels to me that you're processing ideas. It just kind of comes through with how I react to the line and how I want to spend time with the work is it feels like a conversation that you're having with
Mhm.
yourself, with the
Yeah.
artwork. That's really interesting to me,
Mhm.
and it's really vulnerable. Specifically with the silver point drawings, I feel like you could kind of read them like a comic. And sort of see like where does the line go and does it connect or they feel like a world that I would want to just dive into and feel so comfortable. They're also so confident to me, so I see that confidence of you saying like, yes, I want to spend my time, I want to use this board, I want to use this silver point pen, and this is what I want to make.
Mhm.
They like, and I see the same thing in terrace paintings as well, so why it's a fun conversation is it's like, yes, these are the bright colors that I'm going to use. I don't see any hesitation
Mhm.
in the mark making, which is like so. I love to see that because it's very easy to not be confident. So when I see confidence, like I sort of thrive on it, and I'm like, yes, 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 okay, like we all know what we're doing here, sort of a borrow sort of thing.
Yeah.
One of the we have two really fun pieces that happen to be in fiber art, and I have one right here to share. These are called. This one is Sam One, and it's out of different types of fiber, sort of woven together in this really beautiful color scheme. We have another piece that's the same size and then sort of in a different style. So can you tell us a little bit about, what draws you to working with fabric and this series of sculptures?
Well, I guess I was, part of the Turtle Studio in 2020, and then COVID happened,
Oh
and
my
I guess the
goodness.
studio were limited, and then, the group was suggesting creating, fairy houses, and so I was, having a little, so we would all do something, Uh,
Not a surprise to me that you wouldn't want to make a fairy house. Like you're gonna take it in your own direction.
Well, I actually I started, this thinking of a fairy house,
That's so
and
funny.
it
I love
was
that.
also, inspired by Louise Bourgeois' femme maison, so carrying the weight of the house or the house inside themselves. It's like a little bit of, uh, yeah. So there is, kind of space inside, or is,
Hmm.
um,
There is.
and
Yeah.
this kind of morphed into uh, kind of amorphous creature with no
Yes.
defined gender, or not, you know we don't know if they are human or animal, so there
Hmm.
was all this playing around. It's a very so I should go back to them.
They're calling to you. I remember you saying,
So
like,
I,
I
I
wish I
want
had that
to,
much time.
one that is
Oh, this is
infinite,
great.
and
Yeah.
just, based on the shepherd hook, it's a bigger one, and I'm just using, and then I wave around them.
Amazing.
So
Yeah.
that's really the basic thing behind the smaller one.
Yeah, you can kind of see it, which I hadn't like put
Yeah.
together
So
before. It's a
it's a
very
little,
like figure shape to
yeah,
me. Just to
yeah,
start with. Also banana hook, like I could hang my bananas on that if I wanted to.
yeah. So I guess you can see how I,
Yeah.
create around that, very basic,
What a cool
but very
idea. Yeah.
strong
Because they're
frame.
instantly easy to, place and to hang. They have an instant presence, which I think is really cool. And it's great to see your ideas online in a different medium too, you
Mhm.
know? They're really great. So what are you working on next? Either something in the studio or are you in some upcoming exhibitions? Like what's going on?
Yeah. So the it's really, so I have, always the open studio, which, every month I'm kind of reorganizing,
Yeah,
hanging my work and curating my work. So that every month there is a slight change of, what I'm showing. And I am also, part of the gallery, the Loading Dog Gallery, and um, which is a, cooperative gallery in the Western Avenue building. So I have always, some work there with among a lot of very
that's great.
talented and very different, type of works. Currently, they have an exhibition about called Khmer in Lowell that attract a lot of visitors because it's really focused on the Khmer, the Cambodian community in Lowell. So
Wow.
it's
Yeah.
their permanent exhibition. So I am, part of that too, which is also very interesting. Um,
Just those two things would be enough to keep me busy, like the whole time. Getting your studio ready for open studios every month and then potentially being in the studio gallery is like, wow, I can't believe you have time to do anything else.
Well, I do have a virtual exhibition it's ongoing. I don't know when it started. It's called so my work. It's a series of four paintings, and it's called Galatea's Cave,
Hmm.
and
Oh, wow.
it's so virtual, so it's online, but it's part of the Era Gallery in Rhode Island, which is one of the oldest feminists. They are celebrating their 50-year
Oh, my goodness.
anniversary,
That's
and
awesome.
so I was including into this rewriting her story virtual exhibition. But of course, they have all, lots of different exhibitions. So
I'm
that's
gonna
the
check that
thing
out.
that
Yeah,
existing right now, and I'm looking for other um, direction and options. Yeah.
that's great. Definitely. What's the best way to keep up with you? Is it Instagram or an email or, what's the best way to make sure we know what's going on?
I think Instagram is probably the best. I think my website is pretty good in, for more the curated aspect of the work. You won't see what's, going on right now,
Hmm.
but I think I think it's a good explanation and a good, way of seeing things a little bit in order, or
Yeah,
in a
to kind of learn
more
your
formal,
history
and
and watch that.
yeah,
Def-
my story, and yeah. So but I guess to see what's going on right now, and I am very bad at updating my event on my website, so if you want to know what's going next, and my Instagram is probably the best place to go.
That's perfect, definitely.
Yeah.
So we had a quick call before we jumped online or on the live, and you shared something really cool with me that you've had for long before this show was even an idea, probably long before Seesaw was even an idea, and it's a clay sculpture.
Yeah,
Uh,
it is paper clay, so
Paper clay. Okay,
yeah,
sorry.
it's not. So yeah, it's just a little paper clay, but it has an uncanny resemblance with some of the work by
Yes, I can't
Tara,
believe this.
and I did that before I know about her work or
That's
everything. So now it's
amazing.
inspiring me to work on that and pen them
I
and
love that. Definitely. Yeah. And like the way that I run the shows is I'll sort of think like, okay, I know I have these two artists booked or these two or three artists booked, and then I'll sort of look through and see what I think would be interesting. So like you and Tara weren't connected before, and I sort of thought it would be an interesting conversation. So it's very fun to see just organically how that sort of happened. So when you showed me the paper clay, I was like, oh man, I can't believe it. Like there's ruins everywhere. And I think that's just so validating and so fun. Just, sort of based on my gut. That's excellent.
well, yeah.
Oh man. So it's tough to be in the arts, whether it's now in 2025 or 50 years ago or 100 years from now. I'm sure it'll still be kind of tough. But what helps you keep showing up for your art? What keeps you inspired?
Well, I would say it's and there have been so many ruptures, having children, having, life, and expectation,
Or
um, uh, not so positive, feeling about artists.
totally get it. Oh, that's why
Uh,
it's tough.
and I just, uh, I just, cannot not be an artist.
I love
I
that.
would say
Yeah.
that it's just, I mean, Tara was, speaking about the compulsion. Yeah, I mean, I need to create. It's
Yes.
like I need to breathe.
Mm.
I suffocate. uh,
Without it.
yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
That's so inspiring to me. Like you'll find a way to create no matter what. And I asked this of all my artists whenever we do a chat, and one of them said it wouldn't even matter if it was just on my kitchen table, which is where so many artists are working, but it would just like come out, or
Mhm.
else you wouldn't feel that you were yourself,
Mhm.
which
Yeah.
I think resonates with a lot of artists. That's
Mhm.
really inspiring to me.
Mhm.
That's excellent. Well, thank you so much to everybody for
Oh,
joining today. This has been so much fun, Anne Marie. I learn something every time that we talk, and I really appreciate your time tonight. The exhibition, despite transitions, will be on view until June 1st, so we've got 3 weeks to see it. I'm typically here Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You can also check out seesaw.gallery slash visit. That has everything listed out as far as our open times, but then also a spot to come and book an appointment with me. My favorite thing to do is to come down to the gallery and share the work, so don't be shy. You can also view all of the works online at seesaw.gallery from wherever you are. So I appreciate everybody who takes the time to check out the work virtually as well. So thank you so much, Anne Marie. I look forward to working with you again, of course. And thanks so much to everybody for joining tonight.
oh, thank you so much, Amy. We
Excellent. We'll talk soon. Thank you.
will talk
Good
soon.
night.
Good night.